Hey guys, it's Lane and Blake with Redefine Horizons, and it is Monday night in Stockton, California. It is 100 degrees outside, and my electric utility has my air conditioner throttled down, so it's approximately 80 degrees in my house, and I cannot sleep. So I thought, why not do a training video? So in this video, we're going to go and look at some more of our example notes for boundary survey maps. So in this video, we are going to cover what I call adjoiner notes. So that's notes on each of the adjoining parcels. It's part of how we make sure that we've covered the resolved boundary matrix, what we call the resolved boundary matrix. Okay, so we're just going to start here with our east adjoiner. So we'll start with that. Okay. And so let's pull up that drawing and take a look at it. So my east adjoiner is primarily the county road here. And it's a 50-foot county road, 30 feet and 20 feet. That's evident on some of the old subdivision maps. So you can see here 30 feet, and then let's see, on this one you can see the 30-20 split. And then if you look at our grant deed, it talks about the two deed parcels going to the westerly boundary of the county road. So you can see it on this newer subdivision map. This is 60 feet, and then when you get to our parcel here, it jogs in 10 feet, and it's 30 and 20. So roads can be a little tricky because you don't always know if they're fee or easement, and although it's not 100% clear in this case, based on my review of the records, I believe the county road is held in fee. By the way, it's now a city road, but at the time it was a county road. So that is going to be our adjoiner. You have to be careful because if it was held in an easement, then technically these parcels on the other side of the road are your adjoiners. So you do need to know that difference. Now it's a little bit tricky because I have these two parcels here in the middle that are also east adjoiners. So we technically have 3 east adjoiners, and so I need to address that. Okay, but let's just start with the road. So we're going to say the east adjoiner is, I'm going to call it east adjoiners here, and I'm going to say the primary. Okay, the primary east adjoiner is Jensen Road, adjacent to our parcel. Jensen Road has a width of 50 feet. Okay. There is a 30-foot wide right-of-way east of the center line, and a 20-foot wide right-of-way west of the center line. So we want to make that clear. Now, we also want to indicate, how do we determine that? So we're going to say road right-of-way widths were determined from previous survey maps. Okay, so I don't have a road deed, and I probably wouldn't find a road deed if I looked for one, because this is old stuff, right? Dedicated on those maps. If I was going to do a fully resolved boundary on this, I would probably work with the title company to see if they could come up with a road deed. My guess is in this particular case they probably would not be able to do that, but I would certainly follow up with the title company on that. So that's kind of a basic description of what the east adjoiner is here, the primary east adjoiner. Then we want to talk about how did we establish it on this survey, and were there any gaps or overlaps in the record. Okay, so we're going to say the west right-of-way line of Jensen Road was I'm going to say retraced on this survey using MXXX and MXXX. Okay, so those are the monuments that controlled the center line of the road, and we actually have 3. Oop. So I'm going to say the west right-of-way line of Jensen Road was retraced on this survey using a 20 foot offset of the line between those 3 monuments. Okay, so that is, we found this monument here, and then we found the quarter section corner, and then we have the section corner down here. So that's how we established this line. Then we did a 20 foot offset. Okay. All right, so then we have these 2 other adjoiners here, which are not yet labeled. Okay, so, but they are the exception parcels in our deed. Okay, so they are parcels 1 and 2 conveyed to San Joaquin Light and Power Corporation. Okay, in this deed. So we're going to say, so we need to put a note in on that. And I'm going to say the secondary east adjoiners are 2 parcels conveyed to San Joaquin Light and Power, which is now PG&E, and then I want to give that reference volume 245 of official records at page 426. And then I'm going to say the boundary common to the subject parcel and the secondary adjoiners was not fully resolved as part of this survey. And I'm going to say see surveyor note XXX. Okay, so I'm going to have a surveyor note where I talk about that. Okay, now one other important thing I like to do is I like to say based on the evidence reviewed as part of this boundary survey, I found no gap or overlap in the record between the subject parcel vesting deed and the right-of-way of Jensen Road. Now, part of the reason that's true is because of the way my deed is written. My deed has controlling calls to the right-of-way of Jensen Road. So there's no gap or overlap. The deed was properly written. Okay, so that takes care of the east adjoiners. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and move over to you know what? I've got one more east adjoiner here. We've got this highway deed in here I forgot about. So we need to add that. And then we'll move up to the canal. So this is what happens in real life, right? Real life is more complicated than you realize. So I'm going to change this note a little bit. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just put a little introductory note in here. I'm going to say the subject parcel has 4 adjoiner parcels on its east boundary. And I'm going to say one of these is the Jensen Road right-of-way. Two are exception parcels conveyed to San Joaquin Light and Power. And I'm going to say the first. I'm just going to say get rid of that. The first is, and I'm going to say the second and third are, and the fourth is the highway right-of-way parcel for highway, I think it's 33, but we'll check that. Okay, so that just kind of gives an introduction. So we got 4 adjoiners on that side. Okay, and I believe that is highway. It's a 33 or 132. I can't remember. So let's go look. That is, yep, highway 30. Nope, let's see. Looks like it's highway 140. Okay. So that's highway 140. Okay, so we want to add that note for highway 140. Okay, now I'm going to go pull up in my search drawing so I can remember how I did that. Because it'll have my deed reference and some other stuff in it. So this is one reason why it's important to hang on to your search drawings. Okay, and this search drawing is a little ugly. We need to get cleaned up, but it has the information I need. Okay, so this is our highway parcel. Let's see here. So this is the deed. Let's list that. Okay, so it's OR 1127-485. Okay, so I'm going to just type that in here before I forget. Okay, so let's write this note. So we're going to say, so then we're going to change this, and we're going to say, we're just going to say adjacent to our parcel, and then we're going to say, get rid of this and say the 2 exception parcels. Okay. All right. So then we're going to say the highway right-of-way parcel is described in the deed, recorded in volume 1127 of official records at page 45. Okay, so what's the doc? That's the doc. So define the doc. What's the source of the adjoiner information? Okay, and we're going to say it is a meets and bounds, or it contains a meets and bounds land description. So it's not strip, it's not outquit, it's meets and bounds. Okay, and we should actually add that here too. We should also do that here. We should say we're going to say the 2 parcels are described with the meets and bounds description. So that's important information to include. All right, so our highway deed is meets and bounds, and then we're just going to put, we're going to say the boundary, I'm going to say the westerly boundary of the highway right-of-way was established, I'm going to say retraced, I don't like to say established, was retraced on this survey using the line, and then I'm going to say between these 3 monds again, that's our section line. Okay. And the record measurements in the land description. Okay, I'm going to say for the highway right away. Okay, so basically we took that parcel, that meets and bounds parcel we took, and we placed it here. Actually, we placed it down here at the section corner, and then we rotated it along the section line. That's how we established that. Now, what we want to know is, could there be any conflict in the record between our subject parcel deed and the highway deed? And I don't believe there is, because I believe our subject parcel deed accepts out the highway deed. So right here is the exception for the highway deed. Okay, so if there's an exception there, that means there isn't a gap or overlap, right? Because our deed describes this whole piece here, south of the quarter section line, and then takes out the highway. So we're going to say based on the evidence reviewed as part of this boundary survey, I found no gap or overlap in the record between the subject parcel vesting deed and the highway right-of-way deed. So that's the last part of the adjoiner note. We didn't find a gap. Now I'm going to just put in parentheses the highway right-of-way parcel is included as an exception parcel to the parcel 2 description in our subject parcel vesting deed. That's why there's no gap or overlap, so we'll just explain that. All right, so there's our east adjoiner. Okay, so now we're not done. we still got to go. This is kind of a triangular shaped parcel, so we still have to do our. Sorry guys, we still have to do our west adjoiner and our north adjoiner. Okay, but I will do those in a separate video.